Hello and welcome, wonderful listeners, to English in Fluency. I'm your host, Alex, and it is an absolute joy to be here with you today. Thank you for choosing to spend your valuable time with me. Whether you are on your morning commute, enjoying a quiet walk, preparing a meal for your family, or simply finding a moment of peace in your busy day, your presence here means the world to me. And I truly mean that. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to express my deepest gratitude for the incredible community we are building together. The messages, the comments, and the stories you've shared have been so inspiring. Knowing that this podcast is not just helping you with your English skills, but is also bringing a spark of motivation and positivity into your lives is the single greatest reward for me. You are the heart and soul of English in Fluency, and for that, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Today, we are going to explore a topic that is truly transformative, something that holds the key to unlocking potential you might not even know you have. It's a force that can fundamentally change the way you approach your career, your studies, your relationships, and even your own personal happiness. We're going to delve into the psychology of winners. Or, to put it more simply, we're going to learn how successful people think. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, how do they keep going when things get so tough? Have you ever been amazed by a person who, after facing failure after failure, still manages to smile, stand up, and try again? What is the secret ingredient that allows some people to constantly grow, learn, and evolve, while others seem to get stuck, discouraged, and eventually give up? The answer, my friends, is not found in their bank accounts, their backgrounds, or their natural-born talents. The real difference, the game-changing difference, lies deep inside their minds. When I use the word winner or successful person, I want you to erase the common images that might pop into your head. I'm not necessarily talking about a billionaire on the cover of a magazine or a world-famous athlete holding a gold medal. No, success is so much broader and more personal than that. A successful person can be the mother who patiently teaches her child kindness, the student who overcomes a deep fear of speaking in public, the friend who never gives up on you, or the person who is bravely and quietly living their own authentic dream, no matter how small it might seem to others. In this detailed exploration, we will unpack the thought processes of these individuals. We will examine how they perceive the world, how they talk to themselves, and most importantly, how you can begin to adopt their powerful ways of thinking into your own daily life. By the end of our time together today, you will have gained some profound insights. You will understand the specific mental frameworks successful people use when they encounter problems. You will discover how they reframe the concept of failure to use it as a powerful tool for growth. You will learn about the daily habits they cultivate to build mental strength and resilience. And you will receive practical, easy-to-follow tips that will empower you to start thinking like a winner, step by step, in a way that feels right for you. And of course, throughout this entire journey, you will be sharpening your English listening and speaking skills in a natural and engaging way. So, are you ready? I invite you to take a slow, deep breath. Let go of any stress you might be holding, and open your mind. Let's begin this fascinating journey into the mind of a winner and discover how you can become one too. Before we can truly understand how winners think, we must first pause and ask ourselves a very fundamental yet deeply important question. What is a winner? What does it truly mean to be a successful person? We are surrounded by these words every single day. On social media, in the news, in conversations with friends and family. We hear about winners, success, achievements, and goals. But what do these powerful words actually signify? And even more critically, what should they mean to you personally? Often, when we hear the word winner, our minds immediately jump to a competitive setting. We might picture an athlete crossing the finish line first, a team celebrating a championship, or a student receiving the top award in their class. Similarly, the word successful often conjures images of material wealth. We think of people with luxurious cars, sprawling houses, and high-powered careers that earn them a great deal of money and respect. However, for our conversation today, I want us to look beyond these surface-level definitions. The kind of success we are exploring is something much deeper, much more meaningful, and far more attainable for every single one of us. A true winner is not just someone who collects trophies or accolades. A true winner is someone who demonstrates resilience in the face of hardship, someone who refuses to be defined by their setbacks. A winner is an individual who is committed to personal growth, who learns from their experiences, and who strives to become a slightly better version of themselves each and every day. Success, therefore, is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It is deeply personal and beautifully diverse. What one person defines as the peak of success, another might see as just a stepping stone, and a third might not desire at all. For one individual, success might indeed be building a multi-million-dollar company from the ground up. For their neighbor, however, success might be mastering the English language well enough to have a heartfelt conversation with a new friend from another country. For someone else, success could be the quiet, profound achievement of raising children who are kind, compassionate, and happy. It could be maintaining physical and mental health in a stressful world. Or it could be dedicating one's life to serving their local community. All of these paths are valid. All of these are powerful and true success stories. This is precisely why the act of comparing our journey to someone else's is so often a recipe for unhappiness. Your path is uniquely yours. Your definition of success is yours to create. And your achievements are not diminished simply because they look different from someone else's. Let me share a few stories to paint a clearer picture of what I mean. Imagine a man named Samuel, who grew up in a small, remote village with very few resources. He didn't have access to fancy schools or wealthy connections, but he had a burning desire to create a better life for his family. He started by working long, hard hours in the fields, saving every spare coin he could. He taught himself how to read and write better by borrowing old books. He learned a trade, starting a tiny repair shop under a tree. He faced droughts that ruined crops and economic downturns that made customers disappear. Many people told him to give up, to accept his fate. But Samuel persisted. Year after year, he slowly grew his small business. Decades later, he wasn't a millionaire, but he had become the first person in his entire village to send his children to a university. When he watched his daughter receive her degree, tears of joy streamed down his face. Is he rich in the traditional sense? Perhaps not. But is he a resounding success? Absolutely. He is a winner because he used what he had, never surrendered to his circumstances. and created a legacy of opportunity for the next generation. Now, let's think about a young woman named Clara. Since she was a little girl, Clara was incredibly shy. The thought of speaking in front of more than 2 people made her heart pound and her palms sweat. Throughout her school and early career, she was full of brilliant ideas, but she kept them locked inside, terrified that people would judge her or think her voice wasn't worthy of being heard. One day, after missing yet another opportunity to share an idea she was passionate about, she decided that enough was enough. Her journey of change began with a tiny step. She challenged herself to ask just one question in a small team meeting. Her voice trembled, but she did it. Then, she joined a local public speaking club, where she could practice in a safe and supportive environment. She made countless mistakes. She forgot her words. She spoke too fast. Her face turned bright red. But with every attempt, she kept going. 2 years later, Clara stood on a stage and delivered a keynote presentation to an audience of over 200 people. She may not have become a world-famous orator, but for her, that moment was the pinnacle of success. She was a winner because she confronted her deepest fear head-on and discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. Let's consider one more example. A teenager named Leo, who had a dream of becoming a doctor. He knew the entrance exam for medical school was notoriously difficult. While his friends were out playing video games or socializing, Leo was at his desk, studying. He faced moments of extreme doubt and exhaustion. There were complex topics he couldn't understand, and practice tests where he scored poorly, which made him question his own intelligence. He sacrificed parties, holidays, and countless hours of sleep. For months, which turned into years, he remained disciplined and focused on his single goal. Finally, the day came when he received his acceptance letter. The overwhelming feeling of accomplishment was not just about passing an exam. It was about the reward for his unwavering dedication and perseverance. That is success. That is what a winner looks like. Someone who maintains focus, puts in the hard work, and keeps pushing forward when it would be so much easier to quit. So, you see, success is not some distant, unattainable destination reserved for a lucky few. It is about the process. It is about progress, no matter how slow. It is about the courage to get up one more time than you fall down. It's about the commitment to try again, even when you are filled with fear, doubt, or fatigue. A winner is not always the most brilliant or the most talented person in the room. Often, a winner is simply the one who keeps showing up, day after day, and consistently does their best with what they have. This brings me to a crucial question that I want you to reflect on personally. What does success mean to you? Please, take a quiet moment right now to think about it. Is it achieving fluency in English? Is it securing a job that you are passionate about? Is it being a supportive parent, a reliable friend, or a loving partner? Is it living a life filled with peace and contentment? Or is it making a positive impact on the world? There are no incorrect answers here. Your vision of success is your own personal compass, and your journey towards that vision is just as significant and worthy as anyone else's. As we continue through this episode, I want you to hold on to this idea. You do not need to be wealthy or famous to be a success. You do not have to be flawless to be a winner. You simply need to keep moving, keep learning, and keep believing in the possibility of your own growth. Every small, intentional step you take, and every ounce of effort you put forth brings you closer to your own unique and wonderful version of success. Now, let's move into the very core of our topic today. Something truly fascinating and powerful. We're going to explore the way that winners think. So many people hold the belief that successful individuals are simply born under a lucky star, or that they come from wealthy families, or that they possess some kind of special, innate talent that the rest of us don't have. But I am here to tell you that, for the vast majority of successful people, this is simply not the case. The real, fundamental difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is not about external factors like money or privilege. The real difference is internal. It's located deep inside their minds. It's about the patterns of thought they cultivate every single day. And this way of thinking has a name. It's called a mindset. Think of a mindset as the set of beliefs and attitudes that shape how you see yourself and the world around you. It's like wearing a pair of glasses. If the lenses on your glasses are smudged and dirty, your view of the world will be dark, blurry, and unclear. It will be difficult to navigate your path, but if your glasses have clean, clear lenses, you see everything with clarity, brightness, and a greater sense of possibility. Your mindset works in exactly the same way. If your mindset is negative, rigid, or limited, you will find it incredibly difficult to grow and overcome challenges. But if your mindset is open, positive, and resilient, you open yourself up to a world of potential. To help us understand this better, let me introduce you to two distinct types of mindsets, an idea made famous by the renowned psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck. You don't need to remember her name, but the concepts she introduced are life-changing. She called them the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Let's break them down in a simple, clear way. A person with a fixed mindset believes that their qualities, like intelligence or talent, are fixed traits. They think, I'm either good at math or I'm not, or I'm just not a creative person. They believe that talent alone leads to success, and effort is something you need only if you aren't talented enough. For someone with a fixed mindset, failure is a disaster. If they fail at something, they interpret it as a direct reflection of their abilities, concluding, "See? I'm not good enough." For instance, imagine a student, let's call him Mark, who receives a poor grade on an English essay. If Mark has a fixed mindset, his immediate thought might be, "I'm terrible at English. I'll never be able to write well." This thought leads him to feel defeated, and as a result, he avoids writing, stops trying in class, and his belief that he is bad at English becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, a person with a growth mindset believes something profoundly different. They believe that their abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, hard work, and learning from others. They understand that they might not know something today, but they have the capacity to learn it. They say to themselves, "That's okay, I can figure this out with time and practice." For someone with a growth mindset, failure is not a sign of weakness. It's an opportunity. When they fail, they don't see it as the end of the road. Instead, they see it as a valuable piece of feedback. They learn from their mistakes, adjust their strategy, and try again. They grow from the experience. Let's revisit our example. Imagine another student, Sarah, also receives a poor grade on her English essay. If Sarah has a growth mindset, her reaction is completely different. She might think, "Okay, This grade isn't what I hoped for, but it shows me exactly where I need to improve. I'll talk to the teacher to understand my mistakes and work on my writing skills for the next assignment. Can you see the incredible difference? That is the mindset of a winner. So, when we say that winners think differently, what we really mean is that they consciously or unconsciously choose to operate from a growth mindset. They don't crumble when life presents them with a challenge. They don't give up because they've made a few mistakes. In fact, they embrace mistakes as an essential part of the learning process. For them, failure is not a final destination. It's simply a lesson on the journey. Let's look at a practical, real-life scenario. Think about an aspiring entrepreneur, Maria, who wants to open her own online bakery. In the beginning, things are incredibly difficult. Her first batch of website designs doesn't attract customers. She invests some money into marketing, but it doesn't bring the results she expected. A person with a fixed mindset would likely interpret this as a sign. They might say, "I've failed. I'm clearly not cut out for business. I should just quit now." But Maria, operating from a growth mindset, sees it differently. She tells herself, "All right, that marketing strategy didn't work. I've learned that my target audience doesn't respond to that kind of ad. What can I try next? Let me research other methods." This way of thinking allows her to pivot, adapt, and keep moving forward. And step by step, with each lesson learned, she builds a successful business. We see this distinction in every field, even in professional sports. A young basketball player might miss the game-winning shot and lose an important match. With a fixed mindset, he might think, "I'm not clutch. I can't handle the pressure." But a player with a winner's mindset, like the legendary Michael Jordan, who famously said he missed more than 9,000 shots in his career, thinks, "What can I do to improve? I need to practice that specific shot hundreds more times. I need to study the game film to see what went wrong." They use every small failure as fuel to grow stronger, more skilled, and more resilient. Another vital component of how winners think is the practice of positive thinking. Now, it's very important to clarify what this means. Positive thinking doesn't mean that successful people are constantly happy, smiling, and ignoring all the problems in their lives. Not at all. They experience sadness, frustration, and exhaustion, just like every other human being. The crucial difference is that they do not allow these negative emotions and thoughts to take control of their actions and their outlook. When something bad happens, their mind instinctively shifts towards finding a solution rather than dwelling on the problem. When they feel fear, they acknowledge it, but they still take the necessary action. They engage in positive self-talk, telling themselves things like, "I can handle this. This is a challenge, but I am capable of learning." Or, "I will grow from this experience." This internal dialogue becomes a source of incredible strength and resilience. Positive thinking is also fundamentally about maintaining a belief that the future can be better, and that they have a role to play in making it so. Winners don't possess a magic crystal ball that shows them the future, but they possess a deep-seated belief in their own ability to navigate whatever comes their way. They think, "I may not have all the answers right now, but I trust that I can find them." They have faith in the process of learning and growth. They keep moving forward, one small, hopeful step at a time. And here's the most exciting part of all of this. This way of thinking is not some magical gift bestowed upon a select few. It is a skill. And just like any other skill, such as playing the piano or learning a new language, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. You can train your brain to think like a winner. It all starts with making small, conscious changes to your thoughts. Instead of reflexively thinking, "I can't do this," you can intentionally shift to, "I can try." Instead of saying, "I'm not smart enough," you can reframe it as, "I can learn how to do this." This seemingly minor adjustment in your internal language can create a monumental difference over time. So, the next time you find yourself facing a difficult problem or a frustrating setback, I encourage you to pause for just a moment. Ask yourself this powerful question: how can I think like a winner in this situation? Perhaps the answer is to look for the lesson hidden within the struggle. Maybe it's about taking a few deep breaths to remain calm and think clearly. Or perhaps it's simply about mustering the courage to try again, even after you've fallen short. Whatever it is, remind yourself that growth is always possible. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. Remember, successful people are not superhuman. They are ordinary people who have mastered an extraordinary way of thinking. They choose growth over stagnation. They choose a positive outlook over despair. And they never, ever stop learning. Let's now transition into something incredibly practical and important: the thinking habits of successful people. You see, the way we think on a consistent daily basis eventually solidifies into our habits of thought. And these mental habits are profoundly powerful because they directly influence our actions. Over time, our consistent actions are what shape the entire course of our lives. This is why paying close attention to our thinking habits is one of the most effective things we can do to create positive change. If we can consciously cultivate the thinking habits of successful people, we will naturally be more inclined to take the smart, productive actions that lead us toward our goals. So, what exactly are these powerful thinking habits? How do winners approach their thinking in their day-to-day lives? Let's explore 5 simple yet transformative habits that you can begin to practice right away. The first, and perhaps most fundamental habit, is that they focus on their goals. Successful people possess a remarkable clarity about what they want to achieve. They don't just drift through life, reacting to whatever comes their way. They have a destination in mind, a clear goal, and they think about it often. This constant focus acts as a compass, guiding their decisions and helping them stay on track, preventing them from getting sidetracked by minor problems or temporary distractions. For example, let's imagine a young woman, Sophia, whose goal is to become a skilled nurse. This isn't just a vague wish. It's a clear vision she holds in her mind every single day. When her biology classes become incredibly difficult, or when she feels exhausted after a long shift as a hospital volunteer, she reminds herself of her why. I want to become a nurse to help people heal. This powerful goal infuses her with renewed energy and motivation. It helps her to organize her schedule effectively, to study with greater intensity, and to say no to things that don't align with her long-term vision. All of this is possible because her goal is a clear, guiding light in her mind. The second powerful habit of successful thinkers is that they learn from their mistakes. Winners do not see mistakes as a source of shame or a sign of incompetence. On the contrary, They view mistakes as an invaluable source of information. When something goes wrong, they don't waste time blaming others or sinking into despair. Instead, they adopt a curious and analytical approach, asking themselves the crucial question: what can I learn from this experience? Think about a chef, Antoine, who develops a new recipe for a signature dish at his restaurant. On its first night, the dish is a complete failure. Customers complain that it's too salty. A person with a fixed mindset might feel humiliated and immediately remove the dish from the menu forever. But Antoine, the successful thinker, takes a different approach. He takes time to reflect. He tastes the dish again himself. He asks his staff for their honest feedback. He might conclude, "Okay, the feedback is clear. I understand what I did wrong with the seasoning. I will adjust the recipe and try again tomorrow." This simple habit transforms every single mistake from a dead end into a valuable lesson. Over the course of his career, these accumulated lessons are what make him an exceptional and innovative chef. The third habit is that they strive to stay calm during problems. Life is inherently unpredictable and full of challenges. Things will not always go according to plan. However, successful people train their minds to remain composed and think logically, even when faced with unexpected chaos. For instance, imagine a project manager, David, who is about to give a crucial presentation to a major client, and suddenly the projector in the conference room stops working. A common reaction would be to panic, get flustered, and apologize profusely, creating a tense and awkward atmosphere. But David, having cultivated calmness, takes a slow, deep breath. He assesses the situation and quickly pivots to a new plan. He might say, "It seems we're having a technical issue, but that won't stop us. Let's all gather around the laptop, and I'll walk you through it directly." This calm, solution-oriented thinking not only helps him solve the immediate problem, but also demonstrates his leadership and professionalism to the client. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't feel stress. It means you don't allow stress to dictate your actions. Next, a fourth habit is that successful thinkers know when to ask for help. There is a common misconception in our society that asking for help is a sign of weakness. In reality, it is one of the greatest signs of strength and intelligence. No single person knows everything, and nobody can achieve significant things entirely on their own. Winners understand this principle deeply. They are not afraid or ashamed to admit, "I'm struggling to understand this concept. Could you please explain it to me?" Or, "I've hit a roadblock and I need some advice. What would you do if you were in my position?" Let's take the example of a new software developer, Lena, who feels overwhelmed in her first few weeks at a tech company. Instead of staying quiet, confused, and potentially making critical errors, she proactively schedules a meeting with her senior mentor. She comes prepared with a list of specific questions. As a result, she learns the company's systems much faster, avoids costly mistakes, and builds a strong, positive relationship with her colleagues. All of this progress was accelerated simply because she had the wisdom and courage to ask for help at the right time. The fifth and final habit we will discuss today is that they commit to learning every single day. Successful people are lifelong learners. They possess an insatiable curiosity about the world. They read books, listen to podcasts, ask insightful questions, and actively seek out new knowledge and skills. They understand that the world is in a constant state of change, and continuous learning is the only way to adapt, grow, and stay relevant. You don't need to be enrolled in a formal school to be a lifelong learner. Learning can happen in countless small ways. It can be as simple as reading an interesting article during your lunch break, listening to an educational podcast like this one, watching a documentary on a topic you know nothing about, or even just taking a few minutes at the end of your day to reflect on what you learned from your experiences. Think about someone whose goal is to become fluent in English. Instead of limiting their learning to grammar textbooks, they immerse themselves in the language. They listen to English music, they watch movies without subtitles, and they bravely try to initiate conversations with native speakers. Every day, they engage in a small act of learning, and over time, these small, consistent efforts compound, transforming them into confident and proficient speakers. So, let's quickly review these 5 powerful thinking habits of successful people. They stay sharply focused on their goals. They embrace their mistakes as learning opportunities. They maintain their composure in the face of problems. They are humble enough to ask for help when they need it. And they remain curious and commit to learning something new every day. These are not magical abilities. They are simple, practical habits that require conscious practice. Anyone can develop these habits, and that includes you. The more you practice them, the more ingrained and automatic they will become. You don't have to try and master all 5 at once. That would be overwhelming. Instead, start small. Choose just one habit that resonates with you the most right now. Perhaps today, you could take 5 minutes to write down your most important goal. Or maybe you could reflect on a recent mistake and identify the lesson it taught you. Or perhaps, before you sleep tonight, you could learn one new vocabulary word or one interesting fact. These small, deliberate actions are what build the foundation for profound change. Remember, successful thinking is a skill. You can learn it. You can cultivate it. And over time, it has the power to completely reshape the way you live, work, and learn. Let's now turn our attention to one of the most critical pillars of a winner's mindset. It's an element that resides deep within the mind and the heart, providing the fuel for all action and perseverance. This element is called self-belief. You might also hear people refer to it using the word confidence. For our purposes, these 2 terms are very closely related. They both describe the degree to which you trust yourself, your judgment, and your abilities. Without a healthy level of self-belief, it becomes incredibly difficult to grow, to step out of your comfort zone, to try new things, or to keep moving forward when life gets tough. This is why self-belief plays such a monumental role in the psychology of every successful person. So, what exactly is self-belief? In the simplest terms, self-belief is the internal conviction that you are capable. It's the belief that you have what it takes to learn, to improve, to adapt, and to handle the challenges that life will inevitably send your way. It is crucial to understand that self-belief is not the same as arrogance or believing you are perfect. It doesn't mean you think you will never make mistakes or that you already have all the answers. It simply means that deep down, you trust in your ability to figure things out, step by step. You might not know how to build a website today, but you believe that with enough time, effort, and resources, you can learn how to do it. Confidence is the external expression of this internal belief. It's the feeling that allows you to say, "Yes, I can do this." Or, perhaps more importantly, it allows you to say, "I'm not sure if I can do this yet, but I am willing to try." Confidence is the catalyst for action. It's what empowers you to move forward even when things feel uncertain, difficult, or new. Without a baseline of confidence, people often remain stuck in their comfort zones. They don't apply for the job they really want because they fear they aren't qualified. They don't raise their hand in class because they worry their question might sound silly. They don't pursue their creative dreams because they listen to the voice of self-doubt. But with confidence, people take those crucial first steps. They speak up, they take action, and through that action, they learn and grow. Even if they stumble or fail along the way, their underlying self-belief allows them to get back up because they trust in their capacity to improve. Now, here is one of the most empowering truths you will hear today. Self-belief is not a trait you are born with. It is not a fixed quantity that you either have or you don't. Self-belief is something that you build. Think of it exactly like a muscle in your body. If you never exercise a muscle, it remains weak. But if you exercise it regularly, it grows stronger over time. Self-belief works in precisely the same way. It grows stronger every time you use it. The more you take small, courageous actions, the more confident and capable you become. For example, if you are terrified of speaking English and you consistently avoid any situation where you might have to speak, your confidence will remain small and fragile. But if you challenge yourself to start with just one small action, perhaps asking for directions or ordering a coffee in English, you have just completed one repetition for your confidence muscle. The next day, you might try saying 2 sentences. After a few weeks or months of these small, consistent actions, you will look back and realize you feel significantly stronger and more self-assured. One of the most effective strategies for building self-belief is by focusing on taking small, manageable steps. Many people make the mistake of setting huge, intimidating goals for themselves. They try to accomplish something massive all at once, and when they inevitably fall short, they feel overwhelmed, defeated, and give up entirely. But winners understand a different secret. Huge success is simply the result of many small steps taken consistently over time. For example, if your ultimate goal is to run a 5-kilometer race, you don't go out on the very first day and try to run the full distance. That would likely lead to injury and discouragement. Instead, you start by walking for 20 minutes. Then, you might start to jog for 1 minute and walk for 2. Slowly, you increase the duration of your jogging. In the same way, if you want to build confidence in your ability to learn, you must start with small, achievable goals. Commit to reading just 1 page of an English book each day. Challenge yourself to speak just 1 new sentence in English. Aim to learn just 1 new vocabulary word per day. These steps might seem almost insignificant on their own, but they are incredibly powerful. Each successfully completed step serves as proof to your brain that you are capable. It builds a foundation of trust in yourself. Another powerful technique is to actively manage your positive self-talk. This refers to the ongoing internal conversation you have with yourself in your mind. For many people, this internal voice is unfortunately very critical and negative. They constantly tell themselves things like, "I'm not smart enough for this," or I always mess things up. This type of negative self-talk erodes self-belief and makes it nearly impossible to feel confident. Successful thinkers, however, consciously cultivate a different kind of inner voice. They speak to themselves with the same kindness and encouragement they would offer to a dear friend. They say things like, "This is challenging, but I am capable of learning," or "It's okay that I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the process," or "I am getting better and stronger every day." These small, positive affirmations, when repeated consistently, can literally rewire your brain over time. I invite you to try this yourself. Start paying attention to your thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking something negative about your abilities, consciously pause and rephrase that thought into something more supportive and constructive. Treat yourself with compassion. You can also try the simple practice of writing down your small successes. At the end of each day, take just 2 minutes to think about something you did well, no matter how small it may seem. Maybe you finally understood a difficult grammar rule. Maybe you had a short 2-minute conversation in English. Maybe you simply managed to study for 10 minutes when you felt unmotivated. Write it down in a notebook or a note on your phone. Over time, you will build a written record of your progress. On days when you feel discouraged, you can look back at this list and remind yourself of how far you've come. This tangible evidence will help you trust yourself and your abilities more deeply. Finally, it is incredibly important to surround yourself with people who believe in you and support your growth. If you are constantly around negative or critical individuals who tell you that you can't achieve your goals, it becomes exceedingly difficult to maintain your own confidence. But if you make an effort to spend time with positive, encouraging people who lift you up and celebrate your efforts, it becomes much easier to believe in yourself. And remember, you can be that supportive person for someone else in your life, too. In summary, self-belief and confidence are not mystical gifts. They are habits of thought and action. You can build them little by little every single day. Take small steps. Speak to yourself with kindness and compassion. Acknowledge and celebrate your progress. And keep moving forward, even when it feels hard. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't need the validation of others, and you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep taking the next step. That is what successful people do. That is what winners do. Every journey, no matter how well planned, will have its obstacles. It's a simple fact of life. Even the most successful, confident, and resilient people in the world face significant challenges. They experience moments of intense fear. They encounter painful failures, and they deal with disheartening rejection. The critical difference is not that winners somehow manage to avoid these universal human experiences. The difference lies in how they respond to them. They don't allow fear to paralyze them into inaction. They don't allow failure to define them or break their spirit. And they don't allow rejection to diminish their sense of self-worth. Instead, they have learned to view these challenges as inevitable and even valuable parts of their journey toward growth. In this part of our discussion, we're going to talk about these 3 major challenges: fear, failure, and rejection, and explore the smart and powerful ways that winners learn to handle them. Let's begin with fear. Fear is a completely normal and natural human emotion. It's a biological response designed to keep us safe. We feel fear when we are about to try something new and uncertain, when we have to speak in public, when we take a significant risk, or when we face the possibility of failure. Many people interpret fear as a stop sign. The feeling of fear arises, and they immediately retreat back to the safety of their comfort zone. But winners have learned to interpret fear differently. They understand a crucial secret. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal. More often than not, fear is a sign that you are on the right track. It's an indicator that you are pushing your own boundaries and stepping into a space where growth is possible. For example, think about someone named Miguel, who has been offered a fantastic job opportunity in a different country. It's the chance of a lifetime. But he is terrified. It's a huge change. He doesn't know anyone there, and he's worried about the new culture. Instead of giving in to the fear and saying, "I can't do this, it's too scary," he acknowledges the feeling and reframes his thoughts. He says, "I am scared, and that's okay. It's a big step, but I will handle this by preparing as much as possible. I'll research the city, I'll start learning the language, and I will do my absolute best to make it work." That is how winners confront fear. With preparation and action, not with avoidance. The second major challenge is failure. The fear of failure is so powerful that for many people, it prevents them from ever even trying to pursue their dreams. But winners have a radically different relationship with failure. They know that failure is not the opposite of success. It's an essential part of the process of achieving success. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the practical electric light bulb. It's said that he tried thousands of different materials for the filament before he found one that worked. When a reporter asked him how it felt to fail so many times, he famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset is incredibly powerful. It reframes failure not as a personal shortcoming, but as valuable feedback. When winners experience a failure, they don't waste energy feeling ashamed or defeated for long. Instead, they get curious. They analyze the situation and ask themselves constructive questions. What exactly went wrong here? What can I learn from this outcome? What will I do differently the next time? They try again, but this time they are smarter and better informed than they were before. Now, let's address the painful experience of rejection. Rejection is when someone says no to you or something you've offered. Perhaps you apply for a job you desperately wanted, and you don't get it. Maybe you present a creative idea to your team, and it's dismissed. Maybe you apply to a university program and don't get accepted. Rejection stings. There is no denying that. It can feel deeply personal and hurtful. But winners train themselves not to let rejection shatter their confidence or their resolve. They understand that rejection happens to everyone, even the most talented and successful people. Let's think about J.K. Rowling, the beloved author of the Harry Potter series. Her original manuscript for the first book was rejected by 12 different publishing houses before one finally decided to take a chance on it. Imagine if she had given up after the first, or the fifth, or even the 11th rejection. The world would have been deprived of one of the most magical literary creations of our time. Her story is a testament to the power of persistence, the unwavering decision to keep going even when the world repeatedly tells you no. So, how can you begin to handle these challenges more effectively in your own life? Let's discuss some simple, practical tips you can start using today. When you feel the grip of fear, your best weapon is to take small, immediate actions. Don't wait until you feel completely brave or ready, because that day may never come. Start with something incredibly simple and non-threatening. For example, if you have a fear of speaking English, your small action could be to record yourself saying just one sentence, then two. Then maybe you say hello to a stranger in English. Action is the antidote to fear. Each small step you take builds your confidence and shrinks the fear. When you are faced with a failure, make a conscious effort to change the questions you ask yourself. Instead of falling into the trap of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "Why am I so bad at this?" Shift to more productive questions like, "What is the lesson here?" or "What specific feedback is this failure giving me?" It can be very helpful to actually write down the lessons you've learned. Then, armed with this new knowledge, create a new plan and try again. Remember, failure is not a reflection of your identity. It's simply an event in the process. It's a teacher, not a judge. And when you experience the sting of rejection, it's vital to remind yourself, this no does not define my worth as a person. Everyone on the planet hears the word no at some point. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not good enough. It could simply mean that this particular opportunity was not the right fit, or that it was not the right time. Your job is to keep improving your skills, keep believing in your value, and keep showing up. Eventually, your yes will come. It can also be immensely helpful to talk about your feelings. Share your struggles with a trusted friend, a teacher, a mentor, or a family member. Sometimes, the simple act of verbalizing your fears or disappointments can make them feel much smaller and more manageable. Don't try to carry your struggles in silence. Everyone has them, and sharing them is a sign of strength, not weakness. Finally, remember to celebrate your courage. If you took a small action despite your fear, if you got back up after a failure, or if you kept moving forward after a rejection, take a moment to acknowledge your own resilience. Feel proud of yourself. You are actively practicing what winners do. You are building a strong, unbreakable mindset, one challenge at a time. Now that we have explored the mindsets, habits, and resilience of successful people, you might be wondering, this all sounds great, but how can I actually start to think like a winner in my own everyday life? This is the most important question of all, because the profound truth is, you don't have to wait for a major life event, a grand opportunity, or a huge success to begin cultivating a winner's mindset. You can start right now, today, with simple, practical actions and small, intentional shifts in your thinking. In this final section before our recap, I want to share a few easy yet incredibly powerful tips that will help you build this mindset and integrate it into your daily routine. The first simple and effective tip is this: start your day with a plan. A surprising number of people wake up in the morning and drift through their day without a clear sense of purpose, reacting to emails, notifications, and other people's agendas. But winners approach their day with intention. They take just a few minutes each morning to consciously plan what they want to accomplish. This doesn't need to be an exhaustive, complicated to-do list. It can be as simple as identifying and writing down the 2 or 3 most important things you want to achieve that day. Perhaps your top priority is to study English grammar for 20 minutes. Maybe it's to complete a crucial task for your job. Or it could be something personal, like calling a family member or getting some physical exercise. When you have a clear, simple plan, your mind gains focus. You are less likely to waste precious time and mental energy trying to decide what to do next. You begin to move through your day with a sense of purpose and direction. And that proactive, intentional approach is exactly how winners live. The second tip is to actively practice gratitude for small things. Gratitude, or the feeling of thankfulness, is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating a positive and resilient mindset. It trains your brain to see the good in your life, even during times when things are not going perfectly. Every day, make a conscious effort to notice and appreciate the small, simple joys. It could be the taste of your morning coffee, a kind word from a colleague, the warmth of the sun, or even just the fact that you have access to a device that allows you to listen to this podcast and learn. A very effective practice is to take a minute at the end of each day to write down 1 to 3 things you were grateful for. This small habit works wonders. It shifts your mental focus from what is lacking in your life to what is abundant. And a mind that is focused on positivity is a strong and resourceful mind. The third crucial habit is to speak kindly to yourself. This may seem like a small thing, but the way we talk to ourselves in our own thoughts has a massive impact on our confidence, our mood, and our actions. Many of us have a harsh inner critic that constantly says negative things like, "I'm not good enough at this," or "I always make foolish mistakes." Winners understand that this kind of self-talk is destructive. They know that kind, supportive, and encouraging words are what build confidence and resilience. So, they consciously choose to speak to themselves with compassion. They say things like, "I am in the process of learning, and it's okay not to be perfect. I did my best in that situation, and that's what matters." Or, "Next time, I will try a different approach." I urge you to try this for yourself. Start to become an observer of your own thoughts. When you catch your inner critic saying something negative, pause, take a breath, and consciously change the sentence. A great rule of thumb is to treat yourself as you would treat a beloved friend, with support, understanding, and unwavering kindness. Another key idea is to cultivate the habit of not giving up easily. It is completely normal and human to feel tired, frustrated, discouraged, or even hopeless at times. Everyone feels this way. But winners have developed a higher threshold for difficulty. They don't quit at the first sign of a struggle. They understand the importance of rest, so they take breaks. They step away to recharge. But then, they come back and try again. For instance, if you're trying to master a difficult aspect of English grammar and you just can't seem to understand it, don't immediately jump to the conclusion, "I'll never get this." Instead, reframe your thought to, "This is proving to be difficult right now, but I know that if I keep practicing and seek out different explanations, I will eventually understand it." Every single winner you can think of has faced moments where they wanted to give up. The fact that they didn't is what ultimately made all the difference. So please, keep going, especially when it feels difficult. You are so much stronger and more capable than you think. All of these tips are intentionally small and simple, but when you practice them consistently, day after day, they compound to create a significant and lasting change in the way you think, feel, and act. You don't have to be perfect in your execution. You just have to show up each day and make a small effort. Wake up with a clear intention for your day. Actively look for things to be thankful for. Use kind and encouraging words when you speak to yourself. And find the strength to persist when things get tough. These are the daily practices of a winner, and they are habits that are available for you to learn and master. I want to personally encourage you to choose just one of these tips and try it today. Don't wait for Monday or the first of the month, or for some perfect time to start. The perfect time is now. Pick one habit, perhaps writing down your 3 most important tasks for tomorrow, or saying one kind sentence to yourself in the mirror. And just do it. Then, do it again tomorrow. Each small, positive action you take strengthens your winner's mindset, and each step you take brings you closer to becoming the person you truly want to be. Remember, thinking like a winner is not about being the best in the world. It's about becoming your best self, one step, one thought, and one day at a time. The power to do this is already inside of you. Now is the time to unlock it and put it to use. We have now reached the end of our deep dive into the psychology of winners, and I'd like to take a few moments to gently go over the main ideas we've discussed together. This has been a rich and powerful topic, and my hope is that you have found it to be not only useful and simple to understand, but also truly inspiring and applicable to your own life. Let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways from our journey today. First, we began by redefining what a true winner or a successful person really is. We established that a winner is not simply someone who accumulates wealth or accolades. A winner is someone who is dedicated to a life of continuous growth, who learns from their experiences, and who refuses to give up in the face of adversity. We acknowledged that success is a deeply personal concept that looks different for everyone, and that your unique journey towards your own goals is valid and worthy. Next, we explored the crucial difference in how winners think. We learned that they operate from a growth mindset, believing that their abilities can be developed through hard work and dedication, rather than a fixed mindset, which assumes that talent is innate and unchangeable. This fundamental belief allows them to see problems as opportunities for solutions and mistakes as valuable lessons. We also discussed the 5 powerful thinking habits of successful individuals. They maintain a sharp focus on their goals. They actively learn from their mistakes. They cultivate calmness in difficult situations. They have the wisdom to ask for help when needed, and they are committed to being lifelong learners. These are simple but transformative habits when practiced consistently. Then, we spoke about the foundational importance of self-belief and confidence. Winners nurture a deep trust in their own capabilities, even when things are challenging. We learned that confidence is not a trait you are born with, but a skill that you build over time through taking small, consistent actions. Speak into yourself with kindness and compassion, and celebrating your progress along the way. Of course, we also acknowledged that all winners face universal challenges like fear, failure, and rejection. However, they have learned not to let these obstacles stop them. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, they take action. Instead of being defined by failure, they extract lessons from it. And instead of being crushed by rejection, they persist with unwavering resolve, understanding that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And finally, we brought it all together with practical advice on how to think like a winner in your daily life. We saw that it's not about making huge, dramatic changes overnight. It's about cultivating small, simple, daily habits. Starting your day with a clear plan, practicing gratitude for the little things, speaking to yourself with the kindness you'd show a friend, and developing the grit to not give up when things are hard. These are actionable steps you can begin taking today. Now, as we conclude, I want to leave you with one simple but powerful question to reflect on. What is one small thing you can do today to start thinking more like a winner? Maybe you can take 5 minutes to write down your main goal for the day. Perhaps you can catch a negative thought about yourself and consciously replace it with a positive, more encouraging one. Maybe you can try something that feels just a little bit scary, like starting a short conversation in English. Or maybe you can simply remind yourself that any mistakes you make are not a sign of weakness, but a sign that you are learning and trying. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take that one small step. Winners are not forged in a single day. They are created through the consistent choice to adopt the right mindset over and over again. And please, always remember, you do not have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every lesson you learn makes you stronger. You already possess the incredible capacity to grow, to improve, and to succeed. All it takes is your belief, your action, and a little bit of patience with yourself. Before we say goodbye completely, I have a special opportunity for you. It's a short, relaxed speaking practice section. I am going to ask you 5 questions related to our topic today. After I ask each question, I encourage you to pause the podcast and try to answer it out loud. You can speak for as long or as short as you like. Try to use full sentences if you can. But even simple answers are a fantastic way to practice. The goal is simply to try your best. Let's begin. Question 1. Who is a successful person that you admire? This could be a famous person, or it could be someone in your own life, like a family member, a teacher, or a friend. Think about what qualities make you see them as successful. Is it their career, their positive attitude, their kindness, or the way they live their life? Question 2. What does the word success mean to you personally? There is no right or wrong answer here. Your definition is your own. For example, is success about feeling happy and at peace, about helping other people, or about achieving specific goals you have set for yourself? Try to describe what success looks and feels like in your own life. Question 3. What do you typically do when you make a mistake? Mistakes are a part of life for everyone. What is most important is how we respond to them. Do you usually feel upset and criticize yourself, or do you try to see it as a chance to learn something new? Share what you normally do and how it makes you feel. Question 4. What is one small, new habit you could start today that would help you think more like a winner? Perhaps it's the habit of writing down your daily goals. Maybe it's saying one positive affirmation to yourself in the mirror each morning. Or maybe it's dedicating just 10 minutes every day to practicing English. Think of one specific habit and describe it. Question 5. Can you think of a time when you had to face a fear or deal with a failure? What did you do? Reflect on a moment in your life when you felt scared or when something you tried didn't work out. How did you handle that situation? Did you give up? Or did you try again? Did you learn something valuable from the experience? Please share your story, even if it's a short one. Please, take your time answering each question. Don't worry at all about perfect grammar or pronunciation. The main purpose of this exercise is not to be flawless. The purpose is to practice the real-life skills of thinking and speaking in English. Thank you so very much for joining me today on this episode of English in Fluency. I sincerely hope that you not only learned something new about the mindset of success, but also had a valuable opportunity to practice your listening, thinking, and perhaps even your speaking skills. This podcast exists to support you on your journey of growth, both in your English proficiency and in your life. Until we meet again, stay strong, stay focused, and keep thinking like a winner. You've got this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.